Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Tiara Steffen, and I am the product marketing coordinator on the Qgiv team. Today, I'm joined by Diana Otero and Chloe Boonstra of Bloomerang. They're going to be giving us an inside look into how donor and volunteer management tools can help you offer a modern, personalized, and intuitive online giving experience for your donors and build better relationships with them. So a few housekeeping notes before we get started. We are recording the webinar, so everyone, all registrants will receive an email tomorrow afternoon with a link to the session as well as some additional resources. Please feel free to use the chat for any general discussion and to talk with your fellow fundraisers who are on the webinar today. And if you have any questions, we'd love to hear them. You can go ahead and add those into the Q&A tab in the chat, and we'll answer them at the end of the webinar. If you're having trouble with the Q&A tab, no worries. Just drop your questions in the chat. We'll keep track of them and answer them at the end as well. Now, if you use social media, please feel free to share any highlights or your favorite takeaways from the webinar and give us a follow. And now I'm going to hand it over to Diana and Chloe so they can tell you a little bit about themselves and get this webinar started.
Thanks, Tiara. Nice to meet everybody. Yeah, like Tiara said, my name is Chloe Boonstra. I'm a customer success manager here at Bloomerang. I've had the pleasure of using and helping customers use Bloomerang Volunteer for the last few years. And I'm really excited to chat with you about volunteer management today.
Lovely. Thank you, Chloe. Chloe's underselling herself a little bit. She is such an awesome member of the Bloomerang team, and you all are going to learn so much from her today. So I'm personally very excited to be learning more from her today as well. My name is Diana Otero. I've been with Bloomerang for 9 years. I've done every job at Bloomerang except for sales and engineering. So hopefully I can pass on some product knowledge to you today. I served on the board of the Nantahala Hiking Club, which is one of the 31 trail maintaining clubs of the Appalachian Trail Conservancy. So if you're in that area, that corridor, hello to all of you. And currently I'm a volunteer and auxiliary member at our VFW post in Indianapolis. Today, we're going to be covering some of these, or a lot of these things, plus more. So really what CRM and volunteer management tools are, and why using them is important, and how a donor database can help you gain valuable insights into your donor community, and how volunteer management tools can help you nurture relationships with your volunteers. So we'll spend about the first 20 minutes talking about the Bloomerang CRM, and then Chloe's going to walk us through our volunteer management solution, and then we'll open it up for some Q&A. So I hope you all can be engaged. Please feel free to ask questions as they come in. We'll try to answer them as they come in, but we'll also have some time at the end. So first, let's talk about donor management. And this seems kind of obvious now, but a lot of people, or for some folks, we still get the question of, do I really need a donor CRM? And you can play along in the chat. You can say yes or no. Do you accept donations, and do you want to increase those donations? Or would you like to get more donations online and perhaps try some events or peer-to-peer fundraising? A lot of you might be Qgiv customers already, so this is probably familiar to you, but go ahead and answer in the chat. Also, would you like to increase your donor engagement and donor retention? Would you like to get more actionable insights about your funding? Do you think your volunteers or members might make good donor prospects, or vice versa? Yes and yes. Zach says, I use a donor CRM and want to increase donations. Great. And really, if you answered, yep, Nancy says yes to all. If you answered yes to any, probably even more than one of these questions, the answer is yes, you do really need a donor CRM. And some of the other reasons why you might want to invest, or you should invest in a donor CRM, is, according to the FEP 2024 report, donor retention saw a 2.5% decrease from 2022. So, and that trend has been continuing since 2021. And a donor CRM is going to help you with that. About 80% of nonprofits consider CRMs very important and very vital to their success. So this isn't just something that we're trying to sell you on, or we're trying to sell the value on. This is recognized by a lot of your nonprofit peers as being vital to their success. Also, 33% of nonprofits in 2024 said that they would increase budget for CRM and donor management software. So it's good to see that people are getting the value out of their donor CRM. But I will also preface that it does need to be something that you use. Like anything else, it's a tool. So if you don't use it, you're not realizing that value. I wanted to share just some of the results that we've gotten or we've seen from some of our Bloomerang customers. They've seen an 11% growth in their number of donors year over year. They've also seen a 26% growth in their annual donations, and also an annual donor retention growth of about 3% year over year. Now, 3% doesn't seem like a lot, but considering the trend that donor retention has been going down in the last couple of years, that 3% increase year over year can really have exponential results when it comes to your fundraising. Now, how do we do all this? I'm going to show you a quick tour of Bloomerang. And if you're not familiar with Bloomerang, I'm going to show you how it does simply and elegantly constituent management. And I say constituent management because your constituents can look different ways. You might have donors, members, volunteers, all in your CRM. And we're going to see how that looks in Bloomerang today. Fundraising. If you're already using Qgiv, Qgiv is a big part of Bloomerang and is a fundraising arm of Bloomerang, and you'll see all of those great tools as well. We also have our reporting and analytics tools, marketing and engagement, our data management tools, all built in or baked into Bloomerang. We also have a mobile app. So we have a Bloomerang mobile app, so you can take Bloomerang with you wherever you go and have access to all of that great insights. And for those of you that may be using other tools as well, like MailChimp or QuickBooks Online, we have direct integrations with a number of integrations that might be useful for you as well. And with that, I won't spend too much time just talking to you, but let me show you what Bloomerang CRM looks like. So let's go and hop into the CRM. I'm going to go to my home dashboard here. This is the first thing that you see when you log into Bloomerang. This allows you to easily track and visualize your overall fundraising performance. On the left section here, this makes your day-to-day life easier by providing quick links to add new or get back to recently accessed constituents and reports. The middle side here really takes a look at high-level metrics around the health of your nonprofit. It shows you recent amounts raised, donor retention, your month-over-month revenue, and campaign progress over here as well, with click-through reporting capability to more detailed reporting. So if I wanted to dig into our donor retention, I can click into this, and it's going to take me directly to a report with those filters applied to show me who those donors are that were retained. On the right section, this makes it easier for fundraisers like you to identify and steward new donors through our first-time donor calls. As I mentioned earlier, donor retention has been going down. And if you take a look at the numbers, it hovers between 40 to 45%. I think it's about 42% right now, donor retention. But if you look at first-time donor retention, that's at 18%. So we want to highlight for you those new donors, because when you get them to that second gift, they're more likely to be retained and keep giving to your organization. We also have our task list here to help you stay on task and help you stay on top of your to-do list. Now let's take a look at a constituent profile. I'm going to go to JLove here because a lot of what you use to build that relationship with your donor, you're really going to see in their donor profile or in their constituent profile. And you can track any kind of supporter in Bloomerang. It can be individual donors, volunteers, businesses, it can be foundations, or any type of supporter that you can think of. The giving summary gives you an at-a-glance view of the supporter giving over the last 10 years, while the timeline lists all the gifts from and touch points with the supporter over the lifetime of their support with your nonprofit organization. All of that factors into their engagement level over here, which is a quick indicator of how engaged this supporter is with your nonprofit. It doesn't just look at giving history, but it takes a look at everything. It takes a look at, is this supporter volunteering with your organization? Are they attending your events? Are they opening your emails? Not just if they're giving, but are they upgrading or downgrading their giving year over year? Are there any lapses in their giving, or are they giving consecutively? So all of that, and those are just a number of things that factor into the engagement level. We also have the generosity score here, which measures giving capacity and overall giving history. So you can develop a plan to best steward this donor just by combining these two data points. And this gets you to know and understand your donors even more. All of this information, of course, is reportable. And with Bloomerang's reporting and analytics tool, you have the power to learn more about how and why your donors give so you can spend time where it matters most. I'm going to dive into our reporting and analytics features here, first with our groups feature. The Bloomerang Groups features means you can segment supporters based on shared attributes and efficiently personalize interactions to develop relationships with a large number of supporters all at once. And you can save time with dynamic groups and create groups that matter to your nonprofit. So anytime you see a lightning symbol here, that means these are dynamic groups. So donors are automatically sorted into those groups based on certain characteristics. For example, if you have a constituent in your Bloomerang CRM who has not given yet, they're automatically going to be included in this prospective donor list. The moment they give their first gift, they're automatically going to be moved into their new groups. And depending on their giving over time, that can move. Hopefully, you'll be able to move them to perhaps a recurring donor or a retained donor. And hopefully, they don't lapse. But if they do and you're able to recapture them, you'll also see that movement through the automatic and dynamic groups. If you click into the groups themselves, they provide a little more or a little deeper insight into each groups. So you'll see the average revenue transaction, fiscal year and lifetime revenue. You'll have our month over month giving trends over the last 3 years and a breakdown based on gender and age as well. Again, all of this can be easily reported on, and you can reference these groups in your reports and in your communications. We have a very robust filter-based reporting system. So you don't have to learn complicated queries or you don't have to be a developer in order to create reports in Bloomerang. You can create any report from scratch, or you can customize any of our built-in templates that all fundraisers need. We have our LIBUNs, our Cybrents, cash flow, downgrades, and more. And if we look into it, our filter-based system really allows you to create reports in seconds. So you can take a look at here, for example, this is our LIBUNT, which is looking at fiscal year. But for example, if you wanted to take a look at calendar year instead, you can easily click into this and change this to last year. And immediately, once I click OK, you'll see the report is refreshing and it's automatically going to show you the results based on the changes that we made. What I love about our reporting as well is you can easily organize the reports into folders. So if you have, for example, different folks responsible for different types of reporting, they can create their folders and find those easily. And I'm going to search for my LIBUNT again here. You can see it says here that it's monthly. This report is being scheduled to be sent out to my inbox, and I can add others as well. So I can get those insights right in my inbox without having to remember to log into the CRM and run those reports every time. And because I'm using dynamic filters in that report, it's always going to be fresh and show the results when I receive them. Now, a couple of other things as well that I'd like to show you is our data tools. It can be difficult and time consuming to manually track and update supporter information, but Bloomerang's data tools make it easier than ever to update your data. You can use import here to upload a data spreadsheet. You can use bulk update to update funds, campaigns, or appeals all at once across a group of transactions. You can bulk delete to easily remove multiple constituents, transactions, interactions, tasks, and notes, all of those. And you can even merge duplicates to keep your records clean and accurate. I love the merge duplicates as well because we have a notification here that lets you know as soon as potential duplicates are detected, and you can merge them easily or tell the system that, hey, maybe it's not a duplicate, and it will remember that for the future. We all know how important clean data is to your fundraising, so this is one of the ways that Bloomerang helps you keep your data clean. We also offer a free nightly National Change of Address Processing, or NCOA, and disease suppression to ensure your data is clean and up to date and your mailings reach your donors. Speaking of mailings, it's easy to send beautiful personalized emails and letters, acknowledgments, appeals to build relationships within Bloomerang. So if we look at our communications tools, this is where we have our emails and letters. We have our tribute section here as well. If you're comfortable with in a word processor or Google Docs, you'll be very comfortable right here in Bloomerang. Let's open one of my letters here so you can see what it looks like. So this is just a very simple thank you letter that I've created in my Bloomerang CRM, and you can personalize this with your logos or with your logo, any images that you want to include with merge fields so that you're making sure the information that's getting to those constituents are really relevant for them. And you can create letters in a batch and personalize them so you don't have to manually edit letters one by one. And this is going to be the same for we saw our filtering earlier in our reports. Our filtering is the same in our reports as it is in our letters and emails. So it's easy to make that transition if you're segmenting your donors in reports, letters, or emails. Now, we also have a powerful built-in email marketing tool right in Bloomerang. And if you're used to using something like MailChimp or Constant Contact, you'll feel right at home. So these are the emails here. We have a number of starter templates as well that you can customize. So you can change up the images, upload your own images, upload your logo, use those same merge fields that we showed you in the letters earlier, filter for your audience. I'm going to cancel out of here and let's go to my membership renewal reminder instead. And once the email is sent, you'll have access to analytics like open rates and click rates for the mailing and on individual recipients too. Whenever you send communications out of Bloomerang, that automatically gets tracked on their timeline. So you have a record that they received those communications. So you'll have tracking on the individuals as well. You can see that this email is scheduled to go out monthly because it's my membership reminder, or my membership renewal reminder, I should say. So you can schedule the emails out to go out on a future date or even a recurring basis. So you can use this to set up appeals and schedule them ahead of upcoming campaigns, or if you have something like this that you know you want to send out every month, you can just set it and forget it, and it does the work for you. So that's our communication piece. I'm not going to talk a lot about our fundraising tools today because a lot of you are probably already using Qgiv. And if you aren't yet, you really should check it out because they are so powerful. I'm going to put this link in the chat. Or we'll include it in the resources afterwards. But this shows you a sample of all the different forms that you can use in Bloomerang and Qgiv. So if you want to create your donation forms, your event forms, your peer-to-peer forms, all of that you can do with Qgiv, and all of that information flows seamlessly into Bloomerang. So you have that holistic picture of what your constituent looks like. So anything that comes in from a Qgiv form, that automatically goes into Bloomerang, and you'll see that on the constituents timeline as well. And our newest feature that we released just last month, or just a little over a month ago, is our membership management feature as well. And you'll be able to see where you can create different membership levels and make it easy for potential members to join online and automatically track their renewal, their status, their non-deductibles, and you can communicate with them seamlessly and easily through Bloomerang as well. One of my favorite features too is our mobile app. Bloomerang has a mobile app that is free on your iOS and Android devices, so you can stay connected with your donors and even fundraise on the go. And you can process donations in real time using Tap to Pay. It's a little bit tricky for me to demo for you how Tap to Pay works because it's hard to see the phone from the screen. But that's one of the features that we love, and really that allows you to turn any interaction into a fundraising opportunity with your donors. Now, I know we've barely scratched the surface of what Bloomerang has to offer, but I hope you found this brief intro helpful, and I'm going to be turning it over to Chloe.
Thanks, Diana. That was really wonderful. I love that you gave us a little sneak peek of the membership management feature. I think it's such an amazing addition to Bloomerang. So that was awesome. Thank you so much. All right, switching gears a little bit, we're going to chat about volunteer management. So as we know, just as important as it is to manage our donors, it's as important to manage our volunteers as well. So the big question today really is why should you invest in a volunteer management system? So I think first, it's important to note that 85% of volunteers donate to the nonprofits that they volunteer for. So it's clear that volunteers are passionate about the organization and the cause that they're donating their time to. And that's exactly it, right? They're donating their time and their skills to make that lasting impact in your organization and in your community. And in return, they really should be recognized and appreciated for those contributions and those efforts. And that's where a volunteer management system comes into play and makes those recognition and those recognition processes a lot easier for administrators and volunteer coordinators. Baseline, it's true, every interaction your volunteer has with your organization matters. But with that said, like it's up here, 33% of volunteer managers reported volunteer recruitment as their biggest challenge in 2023. So the big question is, how do we make recruiting volunteers seamless and elegant? And how do we track those important interactions that volunteers are having within our organization? So let's chat a little bit about the volunteer management lifecycle. So strong volunteer management practices means that you'll be able to recruit the right volunteers, which is key, right? And retain them for the long term. It's really important to get to know your volunteers, right? Who are these individuals that are dedicated to your organization, and how can we continue to engage and cultivate those relationships with those volunteers? A volunteer recruitment plan is a strategy for attracting and recruiting new volunteers who have skills and interests that align with your nonprofit's core needs. So in order to retain the returning volunteers, we really need to start at the beginning, which is recruiting volunteers. So if we're looking at this life cycle here, we're really creating this journey for volunteers, and it starts with planning. We got to make a plan and strategize how your volunteer system works for you. As we know, every volunteer nonprofit organization is unique. It's different, meaning volunteer recruitment strategies that work for one organization might not be as effective as it would be for another organization. And that's really the beauty of a system like Bloomerang Volunteer, is the customization options you have to create the system that works perfectly for you. And so we'll chat a little bit more about the volunteer management lifecycle and the tools that are included in that. But really, at the end of the day, what we're trying to do, if we take a look at Bloomerang Volunteer and Bloomerang Donor together, is identifying and nurturing those super supporters. It's really important to know who in your organization is donating their time and their money, right? Those are just as important. And so Bloomerang Volunteer's profile integration uses a seamless two-way sync to update donor and volunteer data between Bloomerang Volunteer and Bloomerang Donor. So you get a full, complete picture of your most engaged volunteers and donors, or both, because there's likely a lot of overlap between the two, so that you can continue to cultivate those super supporters. We want to make sure that those that are giving their time and their money continue to support our organization. So with that said, we're going to hop into the CRM. We are actually going to start today with a volunteer view. So if you wouldn't mind, put on your volunteer hats. We're going to context switch a little bit. And I want to chat about recruitment and what are your options for recruiting volunteers. So we're taking a look here at my organization page. This is my community organization. You can add a cover photo and a logo to your pages and a full page description. This is a great way to advertise what your organization offers, show the community that you have within your organization, adding pictures, links, videos, buttons. These are donate buttons. I guess it's on theme for today, but those buttons can really be anything that you'd like. As we know, volunteers like to know a little bit about everything before they sign up to be a volunteer, to sign up for an opportunity. So previewing your opportunities on your homepage is a great way to really encourage volunteers to sign up. So I've got a couple different types of opportunities here listed on my homepage. I've got a couple different types. I've got an ongoing program, which you might have within your organization. So a program that doesn't necessarily have an end date, right? But we have recurring shifts and recurring schedules, like this one here, 2 to 4 hours per shift. We also have, an outdoor opportunity, tagging these opportunities, right? And a one-time event like a fundraising event. So lots of different types of opportunities that you can offer, whether that's a one-time event or an ongoing program. For today, we're going to test a little sign up here, and we're going to sign up for my annual fun run. What I love about Bloomerang Volunteer is that all of the pages that we're looking at today come with their own custom link. So adding these pages to your website, sharing them through social media, or adding them to email blasts, newsletter is super, super easy. So pretty standard page here. We've got a preview of our shifts, again, letting volunteers know exactly what they can sign up to. And let's go ahead and test this sign up together. So bear with me here. Alrighty. My goodness. It's really secure, folks. All right. Moving on. First up is the form questions. Why is a question form or a registration form really important? And it's really the basis for your volunteer profile. You're gathering the information you need from them, right? So that could be very simply profile information. We're definitely going to need name, email, address, phone number. But as I continue to scroll through the form here, we're going to start to see some custom questions, right? So you can add some logistics questions like a waiver or a file upload. But what I love about Bloomerang Volunteer is the endless custom questions that you can add. What kind of volunteer are you? What sort of opportunities are you interested in? Where are you located? This one here is a drop down. And do you want to receive our monthly newsletter? And so really
quick, I don't think that the form is showing if you're showing a form.
Oh. Are we on the right tab here? What screen are you guys on? My apologies.
We are looking at the dashboard still.
The dashboard. Oh, my apologies, folks. Let me unshare and reshare here. Thank you, Tiara.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Are we seeing a question form here?
Yes, we can see it now.
Well, thank you guys. So sorry. Yes. Okay. So you didn't have to watch me fill out the the registration questions. Great. Okay. Let's jump back a little bit, chat about our form questions here. So like I said, standard questions like your first name, your last name, your phone number, those standard questions we're gonna want to gather from volunteers. But like I said, those custom questions, right? So you've got your waiver, you've got file uploads if you need to gather any sort of documents from volunteers. And then, like I said here, what kind of volunteer are you? Which opportunities are you interested in? Where are you located? Newsletter, right? And so just in 4 short questions here, I have a really great idea of what kind of volunteer this is, what they're interested in, and where they're located. Now, just to show you here, required questions like a waiver, they've got to be filled out before moving on. And so you can ensure that any of your required questions are answered before you move on. Now we're signing up for a one-time event, an annual fun run. And so I've got a couple of different types of roles. Now roles are the different jobs or tasks in your schedule. And so volunteers can identify that I do want to be a floater or a guide. I do want to help out with post-race medal management. And maybe I do want to be a water station volunteer, all options that I want to be available for in this shift selection step, which is our next step, right? Volunteers are now going to add to their schedule. So what I love about this is, again, volunteers can really see everything about this shift. Now, this one's really built out. It's got quite a bit of information. We've got, date, time, venue, location. It doesn't have to be as robust as this. But if you're anything like me and you online shop, adding shifts to your cart is really easy. Also makes it pretty easy to go and add also additional shifts to your cart. Slots will fill up as you add shifts to your cart. So everything really is updating all in live time. I love to call out that if there are any volunteers who prefer a calendar view to sign up for shifts, or maybe even a list view, lots of different ways to accommodate all types of volunteers. Completing my sign up, I've got my shifts on my calendar. I can contact my manager if I've got any questions, but now I'm a part of this organization. I'm a part of this ecosystem. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to transition to the back end of Bloomerang Volunteer. We're going to chat about admin view and how to engage your volunteers and communicate with them in a way that's, appreciating their time and recognizing them for their efforts. So this is our dashboard here. We're not going to spend too much time, but I think it's important to highlight what sort of information you have at a glance when you log into your database. So of course, the impact of the time given this week, month, year. Love that you can not only see your current engagement level, but also click in to see who's inactive and maybe send an email to those volunteers and start a cultivation campaign to maybe re-engage those volunteers. Month over month engagement levels. And I also love this leaderboard, which is available on your recruitment page. I think a little friendly competition amongst volunteers really encourages, great teammanship and support in the organization. So heading to the recruitment tab here, now we're on the back end. And so I want to highlight really quickly, again, those form questions and why it's so important to collect this information from volunteers. So this here is how I created that form that we just previewed on the back end. And just to highlight here how easy it is to collect different types of information or data from volunteers. Answer types, really text box if you want to gather any sort of, bios from volunteers, file uploads, like I mentioned, if you're going to gather any sort of documents. And I think really the beauty of all of this is saving time, right? So as volunteers are answering questions, maybe there's a sub question that prompts them after selecting a particular answer. Maybe we'd like to auto qualify somebody, right, as they're answering a question. And so you want to make your database work for you and tag and qualify volunteers as they are selecting answers so that you can use that information then to segment your volunteer database, to send targeted messages to certain groups of volunteers, and really report a little bit more granular than you might usually would on your volunteer database. We'll pop out of the custom questions here, and we're going to head to our volunteer list. And so this one is our master volunteer list. So this would be everybody in your organization who's ever volunteered. So there's a lot of really great information that you can grab from this volunteer list. But I think most importantly is being able to filter and take action on those groups, like I mentioned. So very basically, if you wanted to kind of take a look at everybody who's joined your organization, let's say this year versus last year, right? Getting that sort of holistic view of, how your volunteer database is performing and how much you're recruiting and if that's, improving since last year. Last login date, like I said, to get an idea of who hasn't really been engaged in your database, maybe in over a timeline or maybe at any point at all, which is a great way to keep your database clean and up to date. The example I want to use today is, you've got an upcoming event, you're like taking a look at your schedule and you notice you're a little understaffed. And so what you'd like to do is send an email to those and that are interested, that are available for those types of events, and send them an email. And so this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a list of everybody who is interested in the fundraising event because that's where the need is. And once I've filtered that list down, I've got now 89 people that I can take action on. And in this case, what I want to do is I want to send them a message, right? I want to invite them to sign up for shifts and see if anybody can come and fill those slots that I've got available. So the Bloomerang volunteer email editor is pretty robust. My favorite thing about it is that you can verify your own email address in the system. So not only does it come from your email address, and that makes it really recognizable for volunteers, but it also gives volunteers an opportunity to respond back. Aside from that, from a feature perspective, you got a full rich text editor, so you can add pictures, links, different fonts. But I think really where the star is in here is, of course, personalization tokens or merge fields like we saw in Bloomerang. So not only do you have basic information like first name, but also things like, hours worked, when they joined the organization. So as we start to create these emails and these email templates that are, thanking our volunteers for their time or thanking them for how long they've been in our organization, sending those messages in bulk makes that quite easy. Aside from that, have to highlight that you can upload attachments. It makes it really easy when we think about email automations. We'll chat about those in a minute. And also important to call out that Bloomerang has a ton of email templates for you to use. My favorite to show off is the pre-shift reminder. It's such a great way to use a template and tweak it to your needs, but it also gives you an idea or gives you sort of a template to work with that has a little bit more pictures, gives you something to work with first, and you can always save it as a new template and then keep that in your library. Now, let's chat about email automations, because while it's really great that we can send mass emails, manually as we need to as a one-off, it's also important to think about how we can communicate and engage with our database or our volunteers while still saving time. Really, that's the key that we want to kind of focus on. And so when we think about email automations, we of course have our standards. We have our pre-shift reminders. And I love that you can not only just set up one, but you can set up many, right? Maybe one goes out 24 hours before the shift, and then we've got one maybe 15 minutes before our shift, right? I love the idea of also a post-shift thank you. 5 minutes after a shift, a simple thank you. Here's the hours you completed today, and we're so happy for your time. Simple things, those all get fired off automatically. And again, the system's working for you. You're engaging with your database, and it's really, really hands-off. Pre and post shift, really simple, but also important to consider things like welcome automations. As volunteers are joining your organization, they're receiving their welcome package, right? You can upload those attachments and includes those links. And of course, just from an engagement perspective, birthday messages, recognition of achievement, whether that's based on their tenure or their annual work anniversary or a certain amount of hours. Again, having your system work for you, creating those custom messages and templates and having those fired off automatically, a very simple, great way to engage with your database. Now, with all that said, big question is as volunteers are completing hours and as they are engaging with our database, how does that speak with Bloomerang? And so you can, by default, sync every single user in your database to Bloomerang automatically. Once an hour, Bloomerang volunteer sends a notification to Bloomerang, and all of the hours get synced over to the existing constituent profile. We take a look here at the profile details on the volunteer profile, you'll see their Bloomerang donor information or integration information, excuse me. So you'll see sync status, when it last synced, and the account number. So this toggle here also means that you have a little bit of control over who is synced to your donor database if you wouldn't like everyone by default. And so knowing that that option there gives you a little bit of flexibility if you don't want to include everybody in your sync. Now let's pop over to Bloomerang. I know we're going back a little bit, but I want to pull up my profile that is connected to my volunteer profile. And I'm not sure if Diana covered this, but just to highlight too, all of your volunteers that are in Bloomerang Volunteer are automatically synced to the volunteer group in Bloomerang. So it makes that segmentation really easy if you wanted to send a message to your volunteers from your Bloomerang database. But let's go ahead and pull up the profile so we can see how this integration is working. So we've got my email here, like we saw, I've got my profile, but what we may have not seen earlier is now these volunteer activities. And so if I open this up here, what I see is I've got 3.5 hours completed today, got the volunteer activities, so the organization's annual fund run, and we've got the volunteer service time as well. And so again, like I said, this is all happening in the background. So as volunteers are completing those hours, the systems are just going to talk together. And that happens here down in the integrations tab. And so at any point in time, you want to change or update your Bloomerang volunteer donor integration settings. You can pop in, turn off automatic syncing. You can do a manual sync at any time. And of course, as I mentioned, you can turn on that default sync of new users. So everyone gets added to your donor database, or we turn this off and we have a little bit more control over who's included in our donor database. Very lastly, I think important to call out reporting, right? How do we report on our volunteer database in Bloomerang Volunteer? And I think very simply, you have your reports tab as well here. So if we want an hours worked, very simple high level summary report, you download that. All of this updates in live time, so you'll always get the most recent information. And you definitely can get granular as well, right? If I wanted to see a deep log of hours, who actioned the check-in time and when it was actioned, you definitely have all of that available at your fingertips. And like I said, in our volunteer list, if we ever wanted to get more granular and see a little bit more of a narrowed down list of our volunteers, you can use your filters, stack those on top of each other to really get an idea of how your database is performing, which opportunities or events are most popular in your donor database. And again, just keeping an eye and a tabs on our volunteers. Thank you so much for your time. A little tour of Bloomerang Volunteer. Tara, I'm gonna pass it back over to you and pop open these slides here.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. This was so informative and a great look at the back end of Bloomerang donor management and volunteer management. And I want to thank everybody here for joining today. We're going to get to our Q&A here in a moment. But first of all, earlier this year, Qgiv joined the Bloomerang team to offer a modern giving platform that puts relationships at the heart of fundraising. This combined solution unifies your donors' activities, giving you the power to acquire new donors, cultivate impactful relationships, and maximize the potential of your donor communities. Now, if you're interested in learning more and you are a Qgiv customer, feel free to email us at support@qgiv.com with any questions you have about Qgiv's online fundraising tools and the Bloomerang acquisition. If you're not a Qgiv client and you're curious about using the Qgiv platform, it's super easy to request a demo. Just visit qgiv.com/demo-request and fill out the form. And if you're looking for more best practices, please visit qgiv.com/blog and check out our collection of fundraising blogs and free resources. Now I'm going to launch a poll here in a little bit in case anyone is interested in learning more about Bloomerang's donor and volunteer management tools or Qgiv's fundraising tools. Go ahead and fill it out and we'll get in touch, chat more about these tools and how they can benefit your organization. And now we can go ahead and move on to Q&A. All right. So we got lots of great questions, some volunteer questions for you, Chloe. Nancy wants to know, how is volunteer time tracked? And do volunteers enter start and end times into BL?
Yeah, really, really great question. Thank you. There's a couple different ways that you can track hours in Bloomerang Volunteer. I'd say our most popular way is via our mobile app. So volunteers can log in using their same credentials, clock in for a shift, and clock out. But similarly, we have a lot of other popular options. Our kiosks, usually meant for a tablet. So volunteers are coming to one singular location, checking in for their shift and checking out. But also think it's important to call out that you can, have volunteers automatically checked out for their shift. So again, lots of different ways to make sure that you're accommodating lots of different types of volunteers with different tech comfortability.
Awesome, thank you. Both Katrina and Nancy are wondering if there is an additional cost for the volunteer management tools.
Yes, good question. So Bloomerang Volunteer is an add-on and it's priced very similarly to Bloomerang. So it'd be priced based on the number of volunteers you have in your system. So yeah, we can go ahead and send pricing information to you as well after the webinar for sure.
Awesome. Kyle is wondering, how does Bloomerang donor management integrate with QuickBooks? Will we have to enter information in both QuickBooks and Bloomerang? Diana, do you want to speak to that?
Sure. Bloomerang has a direct integration with QuickBooks Online. So no, you do not need to do manual or duplicate entry. You can enter it all into Bloomerang and then connect your QuickBooks Online account, choose how you want everything mapped over to QuickBooks. It's very customizable. And you can also choose if it syncs automatically or if it syncs automatically on schedule, or if it syncs whenever you press a button. So it's all very easy. Enter it into Bloomerang and it's automatically going to be displayed in your QuickBooks account. Great question.
We did get a few questions about Giving Plus and Bloomerang. So JJ, Diana, Chloe, do you guys want to speak to that at all?
Sure. Some of the questions that are coming through is, what is the difference between Bloomerang and the Giving Plus platform? So the Bloomerang platform that you saw all of that today, right? That's the donor management, that's the volunteer management. All of those great features are what we walked through today. So the Giving Plus package that is available to Bloomerang clients is a special package that we have for fundraising tools. So that will include donation forms, the year-round donation forms through the Qgiv platform, event landing pages and registration forms that are available through that as well, and then as well as text to donate. So the ability to accept donations through text. So they are going to have different costs that are associated with them. So if you are currently a Bloomerang client and you're interested in Giving Plus, we can absolutely get something set up so you can learn more about it.
Awesome, thank you, JJ. Kim just came in with a question. Is there a Qgiv module just for text to give and not used as a fundraising platform? JJ, you want to take that one?
In terms of Qgiv module, so you're asking about some of the different packages we have, and we do have that is separate. So if you want to just use text fundraising, you absolutely can do that. If you don't want to use the donation forms and the event registration forms and everything like that, like, you don't have to sign up for those. They will be included in your package when you do sign up, but you don't have to use them. The text fundraising package is a specific package that you can sign up for, and it includes basically the text to donate feature that I was talking about, as well as outbound text messaging. So this is separate from the Giving Plus package. The text fundraising package that would be exclusively through the Qgiv side of the house would include the text to donate as well as the ability to send outbound text messages. So that is one section. We do also offer the traditional text to give, which is through the Mobile Giving Foundation, and essentially that is the version where your donors will text in a keyword and it gets added to their phone bill, and that is all through the Mobile Giving Foundation. So we do have two different text fundraising packages that you can look into.
Awesome. I don't see any other questions. So hopefully we've answered everything that everybody needs to know about donor management and volunteer management and Qgiv's fundraising. Oh, We actually did just have one come in. Deanne wants to know if I'm a Qgiv customer, is Bloomerang an add-on?
It'll be it's not included in any of your fundraising packages that you have, so you would have to add on Bloomerang. And if you are interested in learning more, I hope that you selected the box when the poll was on. If not, just let us know. We can get you in contact with the Bloomerang team.
Right. We have a question about how to log in to Qgiv. Jasmine already has Bloomerang and Qgiv, but doesn't know how to log into Qgiv. To log into Qgiv, you just got to go to secure.qgiv.com, enter in your email and password, and you'll be able to access your Qgiv dashboard, set up events, set up donation forms, all that fun stuff from the back end there. Nancy is wondering if there is a matrix that shows functionality by product. So Bloomerang, Giving Plus, Qgiv. I will definitely look into what we have on the Qgiv side of things and add that into the follow-up email. I know there is one for volunteer that I've seen. Diana, do you have any knowledge about things on the donor management side of things that's, we can share?
I'm very curious about Nancy's question because they're really designed, all the different products are really designed to work together, right? So your Bloomerang is kind of your core relationship management. Qgiv is the product, Giving Plus is the package. I think that's good to clarify that right now. And JJ, correct me if I'm wrong. And that's really the fundraising component, right? So the CRM, Bloomerang is your CRM. That's really where you manage those relationships. And that's why the data from the fundraising, the data from Qgiv, the data from volunteer, all of that gets fed into Bloomerang, so you have that holistic picture of your constituents. So we can talk more about what different features are available in each, but really they're all designed to work together. So I know that's not directly answering your question, but I don't want to get into a feature comparison because they're all designed to work together. JJ, Chloe, anything to add there?
Nope, I think you hit that right on the head of the nail. We hear you about being able to show that matrix. We have been working on something that makes it a little bit easier to visualize everything, so that you can understand sort of how all of the tools work together, what Diana is mentioning. So hopefully at some point we'll be able to provide that, so it makes it very clear about like, this is what you can do in your fundraising tools, your management, donor management, your volunteer management, and this is how it all beautifully comes together to help you manage those relationships.
Thank
Also,
you,
like,
David.
I think too, that's a great conversation to have. Instead of just sending you a list, that's a great conversation to have. So we can really dig into what it is you need and what you're trying to do and how we can support that.
Absolutely. All right, well, I am not seeing any other questions. So I want to thank you guys so much, Chloe and Diana, for being here today to show us everything Bloomerang. We're so excited to be a part of the team. And thank you to everybody for joining us today and hearing from Diana and Chloe. We're really excited to share more about our team and Bloomerang and Qgiv together and how we are our dynamic giving platform. So thank you guys so much and have a great rest of your Tuesday. Bye, everybody.